Hey guys, it's Mrs. Bowman. I don't have Finn with me today because it's not Mammal Day. Oh, hold on, I'm sorry. Hold on, somebody's at the door. Hold on just a second. Why don't you come with me? Let's see who's here. Ooh, I almost tripped. Oh, Finn's here. Oh, he's so excited. He wants to be in this video again. Let me see who it is. Oh, what? Oh, it's my mammal friends. Hey guys, what's going on here? I wasn't expecting you. Oh, what? Oh, they thought it was time for the mammal shoot, but you guys are too late. I did that already. Sorry about that. I didn't know you wanted to be included. Well, I guess you can come in while we talk about reptiles today, if that's okay. Yeah, I know you're disappointed, but that's all I can offer you. So hold on just a minute. Come on in. Hey, other mammal, come on. Finn, coming in, come on. Come on. Sorry, mammals. It's just not your time. But come on in and learn something new about reptiles. Let's go. If you guys remember, dolphin here is a mammal that lives in the water. And then we've got our white tiger, Mr. Hippo. Ho ho, Hippo is a mammal. And so is tiger. Definitely one of my favorites. All right, you guys be good and listen. All right, so we're going to talk about reptiles today. Really quick, guys. I'm going to squeeze this one in, okay, because it's kind of a little extra. Don't tell Mrs. Ferreira. Some of the vocabulary when we're discussing reptiles is we're going to stick with classify because we're going to group reptiles by their characteristics today, okay? Today we're going to talk about being cold-blooded, which means animals who have a body temperature that varies, and varies means changes. It changes with the environment. So when they get cold, they actually have to find sunlight to warm up their body, right? And if they're getting too hot, they need to get out of the sunlight and find someplace cool. And that's very, very important for their survival. We're also going to talk about comparing and contrasting. Yesterday we only had one group, so there was nothing to compare or contrast. Compare means to determine how two or more things are similar. And then contrast means to determine how two or more things are actually different. Okay, so let's look over here really quickly. Here are some of my reptiles today. And you can tell just by looking at them, very different than the mammals that we looked at from yesterday. We've got Turtle, who did make an appearance yesterday. And we know he's got a hard shell, no hair, right? We just talked about that reptiles are cold-blooded, not warm-blooded. It's a very scaly body. Same thing with our alligator and crocodile. And then I just don't even like to touch this guy. We've got our snakes, and snakes are definitely reptiles. Mrs. Ferreira does not like snakes, and neither do I. I talked about yesterday, I just don't like the unpredictability. Just never know what they're going to do. So those are just a few of the reptiles that I had. And then I've got some really cool books here. And if you tune in to one of our playlists on our YouTube channel, I'm going to take some time to read some of these because there's some amazing facts and really interesting things. I've got Reptile Park, lizards, and this is actually one of my favorites. I'll show you a quick few pictures here just because it's so cool. Chameleons, I guess when I'm thinking of reptiles, I guess I like chameleons because they can do something like this, which is really, really fascinating and just outright cool. So I'll do a little bit of reading later on. I'll post them to our YouTube channel under playlist. I'll do a read aloud for fun playlist so you can check them out there. Okay? So when we're talking about reptiles, these guys, like I said, are reptiles. There's a flying or a gliding reptile. And then, of course, I've got some snakes here just because I thought you guys would like it. But overall, there are all different types of reptiles, including turtles and tortoises. And yes, there are differences between those two. They're two different species of reptiles. Chameleons, geckos, lizards, crocodiles, snakes. And this guy is called a skink. I don't know much about him, but they're all reptiles. So we're going to quick make a transition right over here to our Venn diagram. Over here, this is my mammal list. yesterday we talked about that mammals are vertebrates. They have a backbone. They're warm-blooded. Their body temperature stays the same all the time. They're born alive. They drink their mama's milk. They breathe air with their lungs. Most live on land, but I just showed you Mr. Dolphin over there. He does not live on land, but yet still a mammal. And they also have hair or fur. It's a big distinguishing feature right here, one we can see. We're talking about reptiles now. They're also vertebrates, okay? They also have a backbone. They're cold-blooded. Most are born from eggs, but not all. There's a few rule breakers. Just like you guys learned in the video if you watched it on mammals, there's 1 or 2 rule breakers. There's always somebody so naughty that breaks the rules. Oh, we always have a few, don't we? They live on land and water. Reptiles' skin is dry and scaly, and they breathe air with lungs. So when we look at both of those lists, if Laura can pan back a little bit, I know it's tough because I ran out of room, but our Venn diagram, if you guys remember, this little section in here that overlaps, that's what animals have in common. That's what we're using it for today. This is a shared characteristic space. So the things that mammals and reptiles have in common or that are similar are going to go in this space. So I'm going to write those down really quickly. And while I'm getting my marker, I just want you to think about what you think, what characteristics you think will actually go in this shared space. What do they both have in common? Okay. Well, let's take a look. The first thing I have here is vertebrates. We know mammals have a backbone. Let's go back over to reptiles. And I'm sorry I didn't label them, guys. I just ran out of space and wasn't thinking about it. Vertebrates, vertebrates. That's what they have in common. So I'm going to write it right in here. And I'm sorry if it's messy. Laura actually has a college assignment that she has to do, so I'm trying to get this in quick, okay? We know that mammals are warm-blooded, reptiles are cold-blooded, so that's not something they have in common. So I'm just going to put warm here and cold here for now. And I'll trust that you know that that means warm-blooded and cold-blooded, okay? So check, check. The next is they're born alive. Well, reptiles are mostly born from eggs, so they don't have that in common. Now we know there's a few rule breakers, but we can't worry about that completely. We want to think about it as a species. What do most of them do? So we're going to say born alive, and then we're going to say hatched from eggs. I can just see a little crocodile coming out of his egg. Kind of freaks me out just a little bit, not gonna lie. Mammals drink their mama's milk. Now that's not something that we see here for reptiles. So usually a lot of reptiles when they're born, actually their mamas aren't even around. Okay, they lay their eggs and then they wander away and the babies are born and they know what to do right away. It's really, really fascinating. So we're going to say drink milk from their mama. And these guys they're on their own. I'm going to put on their own from the time they're born. They don't really need their mama, okay? We need our mamas. Our mamas are important. Our mamas are rock stars. All right, the next one. Let's see. Most live on land and water. Now, most do. But we know the dolphin, there's a few other mammals live in the water. So that is something they have in common. So I'm going to put it in this space, this shared space. Live on land and in water. Something they have in common. Okay? And I'll check mark that one and we'll check mark this one. Now we're looking at their skin. Reptiles' skin is dry and scaly. If you touch them, it'd be much harder. It's not going to be as soft and as nice to the touch. At least that's my opinion. And then when we look over here under the mammal category, we have hair or fur. It's like when I pet my dog or you pet your cat or whatever it is that you might have at home as a pet, although you might have a reptile at your house, So I'm not sure I want to come visit because that might freak me out. So we got these guys. The mammals have hair or fur, and our reptile friends are scaly, and their skin is dry. They probably need some lotion. That's what they need. Huh. All right, and then we have, let's see what's left. Oh, mammals breathe air with their lungs. And guess what? So do reptiles. So they have that in common. They breathe air through their lungs. Pretty cool. So even though reptiles and mammals are really different creatures, and they're different classifications of animals, different classification system, not system really, just a classification group. Even though they're really different, they also have things in common. And that's pretty cool. So you choose. If you had to choose to have a mammal or a reptile for a pet, what would you choose? I definitely would choose a mammal, but that's just me. All right, thanks for letting me squeeze this lesson in. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.